Hey, this is Gene. A couple days have gone by now. I do want to talk about a couple things here. First of all, I just watched Matt Walsh newest show. He definitely made a couple of same things that Nick did. Uh, I'm not gonna say he stole his words, but you could definitely think that those two might actually get together. So I think that's a good thing for the right. Again, I'm not somebody here that says right versus left when it comes to this. It's good versus evil. I did a video on my Facebook, and my family members found out where I stand on this. Um, I was just talking about the man, Charlie Kirk. I thought he was a good man. I think that his words were taken out of context. Why anybody in my family, I do have a lot of, I'm not going to say hard rind leftists, but I do have some. And I don't know that those people would fall prey to that. Most of them are Catholic, so I wouldn't think that they would. Um, so I'm gonna wait here. Candace is gonna have her own show. I don't know how this is gonna be because she's been very emotional since this happened. Way too many people are talking about that maybe that they had some sort of relationship sexually. I don't care one way or the other. I mean, obviously, Candace married a white guy. Um, I think that she's already described their relationship as big brother and little sister. Actually, the other way, I think, but she's a little bit older than him. So I'm gonna watch what she's got to say. Uh, so I would go ahead and just say, go ahead and watch Matt's show. Matt's a little bit different than Nick. They are a little bit different when they talk. Their cadence are a little bit different. Uh, Nick is a better overall speaker, but Matt is more like most of us are. You know, um, he basically was just a normal dude, kinda, and then he got taken over, and he did. He's on Conservative Inc. He's all those type of people. But as you get older and he has family and all that stuff, you realize that his where his where he was coming from was always correct, right? You could have some issues with some of his positions or his lack of positions in some areas, but we'll see. I don't necessarily think that Ben Shapiro is going to be one of those people that he's gonna get together when we talk about Christ. But anyway, what I want to talk about this video quickly for me, if I can, and I think it should be talked about, is why he was actually shot. Was it just this man who clearly is a gay man that was having a relationship with a gay man, but that other man was thinking about transitioning? The person hadn't transitioned. He was somebody in his 20s as well. So clearly went through puberty as a man, all that stuff. So these are two gay men, and it could be one of those things. You come from a very conservative background, and it's hard to open up about your sexuality, and you do certain things. I don't think it has anything to do with what he did, but being in that environment, being online in those groups, talking about stuff like this, it can cause you to be you can be radicalized. Now, I didn't grow up with this. People our age did not grow up with this stuff. We didn't have the internet. And I always thought, and I still think this to today, that as great as the internet is, social media can be, it's such a detriment to young people. I don't think that the government would ever come out and say you can't be on social media until you're over 18. But I'm getting to that point that it probably should be. I think that it should be that way if you're, it's like getting alcohol. I just think that it's so damaging. I think you can still have your phone. I still think it helped find you. You could be able to search for stuff if you want to, if you're something for school. But going into these rooms and stuff like that when you're under 18 is, even then, maybe he didn't do any of that stuff past he was 18. But it just, you become so radicalized so quickly. And I do have my own issues with my daughters. I've all kind of went through that. Back when Tumblr was big, they were all into it. And they never knew what feminism was. And they came back out and they're like, well, this person was meaning this, and the women are oppressed, and that men have all the resources, stuff like that. And as a man, I would look at that and say, okay. Well, you just keep telling yourself that, and then whenever something happens, you know who's going to show up to fix it. It'll be another man. But you do what you got to do. And if you want to go to college and talk about women's studies and how you've been oppressed forever, go right ahead. We didn't realize that it would become what it has become, and how it just affected all of academia and government. especially, and it just got on steroids after Obama got in. But I digress. The question is, was he just doing it to get favor for his quote unquote trans girlfriend? Because I want to do it because men will do it. They will sip to their sexual objects that they want to have sex with, and they'll do shit like this. They'll kill the rival or they'll kill a former lover just to get approval from it. Women kill men all the time, but it's usually other men that do it for them. And that's why people say, well, it's only men that are doing this shit. Yeah, it's women asking other men. They manipulate other men to go out and shoot other people for them. It happens all the fucking time. So, and I'm not going to go down men's rights stuff and all that, but I'm just saying different reasons why that he was shot. And that could be a very simple boilerplate type of thing in his own life, that he was upset that his girlfriend, whatever, was complaining about it. He was on these groups, and he's like, I gotta do something about it. You know, I needed to prove my worth to that community. Or he was dealing with his own identity anyway, because apparently he's a furries and all this stuff too, that we would laugh at before. But it's kind of like in school now. Kids will show up there and they start barking at the thing. Or is it just because probably, and this is where I think it is, because it all comes to the same thing. The archetypal white man married with kids is something that they've been railing at for a long time now. Black Lives Matter says the worst thing we need to destroy what nuclear family means. And at the head of the nuclear family, clearly before we had massive amounts of migration, immigration, illegal immigration, it is the white man. Because as I said before on videos before, when I was born in 1965, take a few, either 88 to 89, some people, some of the stuff I've seen said almost 90% of this country was white. It just was. And so people don't understand that when they grow up and they're 18, 20, 25 now, they think that they grew up in this very diverse country. I guess you might say 9 out of every 10 would be white or not. That other 10% or 11% were the diverse part of it. No, they were just other black people. And this is what we formed together. And yes, we had issues, and we're trying to get through it. And we did some really stupid things in the 60s to try to settle it. Other white people trying to help other people, maybe the right intention, like Charlie Kirk talks about the Civil Rights Act, but it was not done outright, right? Because there was problems, and we tried to do it as a virtuous type of people that we are. We tried to fix it like we did in the Civil War. Sorry. Good Lord, people. Just a second. So I think overall, whether or not he believes this or not, I think he was indoctrinated by the people believing that the worst thing that there is ever been in the United States of all time is somebody that looks like me, somebody that has a family with kids, that is married to a white woman, that says, I want my line to continues on, that I celebrate where I came from, my heritage, my identity, that's a bad thing, because we're the only race that's done this stuff to other people, as far as going in, conquering, taking over a country, having slaves, stuff like that. And they've been indoctrinated at least for 50 years, because it started when I was in in grade school. Now, it wasn't as over the top. We were talking more about the Native Indians back then, and the black experience, obviously. But now it started going, and it branched out to other things. Oh my goodness. I haven't really, it might be this chair. Maybe it's this blanket. I'm crying now. I think what it did is just started branching out, and then you got different groups of people say, "No, I want to be the next victim," and then we had this certain amount of victims in this country, which clearly were black Americans, right? So clearly should be the top of that. And maybe the Chinese that came over and were a little bit oppressed when they were building the railroads. The Japanese after World War I, World War II, stuff like that. All those people had real claims to some sort of victim narrative, let's say. And we tried, for all these people, we try to do things to make it better for them. And I think with the black ones, we just, African Americans, whatever you want to call it, whatever. I mean, if you're going to call me European American, whatever, I don't care. And we just probably went the wrong way with that because they were doing okay, relatively. They're not anywhere close to they were in the 60s, while they are now. My point is that we allowed this, and then you got into the academia. It started at elementary school, middle school, high school, and then they really study it in college and make some sort of almost like a different sect of ideas that are not real, and they're not based on anything. They're all theories of shit. And then and when they do all this stuff, and it's under that big Marxist stuff, when they finally get to the end and they say, well, what's the actual issue? And they're going to say it's the single white male hierarchy paradigm. They're the problems of all time because they're stopping women from being women, having going careers, and or they're bad against black people. Some white people are worried about black men coming and taking their women. They want to keep their line pure. They all lead to the same point, and that is we have to eradicate that. And when that white man has his family, has the kids, he had one of each. God. We have to eradicate it. And that is why a lot of them are celebrating the way they are. The ones you see that are actually clearly are deranged, right? You know, they don't look like the normal. I'm not saying anybody's normal, okay? I rarely see any of these people that have been celebrating what I think that would not be leftist. So, you know, the people at, what was it at, not Home Depot, but where that guy was trying to get a poster for a visual for Charlie. The two people there that got fired, just by looking at them, you know where they lead. They're not healthy physically. They clearly are not healthy mentally. So these are the people that are complaining about it, but you'll see or celebrating, but you also will see certain people that you would think, Jesus, they're like somebody that would walk, you know, that would live in my neighborhood, and they think they have that mind space to think the things that they have. They're so filled, the white ones are so filled of white guilt that they've been indoctrinated for so long thinking that they're the problem. And not really them. They're not going to say anybody in their house, right? But some of them they're feminists, the ones that don't ever have kids, the ones that are on all sorts of fucking drugs because they're so depressed. But they can't blame anybody else. So I can't really do this anymore. Damn it. I'm gonna try a little bit more. I'm sorry about this. So, do I think overall, in his mind, he said I have to kill him? The archetypal symbol of being a white man, have a white blonde-haired woman with me and my my kids, that I need to destroy that. I don't think that's in his mind, but he clearly was up in that what we consider what's optimal in a quote-unquote patriarchal society. So, and those people, those ideologies are designed to destroy what that is. So, yeah, I think he was killed because of his faith in God, and he was killed because he was a single, I keep saying single, a white man, married man with kids, married to a white wife. I think he was killed for that. And I don't even think he was even killed for what he said, because what he said is not, if we had said that 10 years ago, nobody would have said, it wouldn't have raised an eye at all. So just let me know what you think. I know maybe this shouldn't be something we're talking about. What you think, the motivations, other than the fact that he was Antifa, maybe. or he was indoctrinating. There has to be a reason, an actual basis for what their belief system is. And clearly for me, it's the destruction of the nuclear family, and he clearly represented that, and he was at the highest level of it, celebrating it, supporting and uplifting his wife. Watch his videos when he talks about how women should be, they are the prize, right? That men chose to goes up to a when they get married, they wear, as a man, you wear like a black or brown suit, and then you do it later on when you're in the coffin, because when you actually get married, it is a death. It's a death away from being single, and all the vices and temptations you have as being single. The ones that some that says we go out and get more women, and we're not going to be faithful to any of these men, um, other women, or the fact the sloth that we have of being playing games all the time and not be motivated to do anything, because this is what happens to men sometimes. We'll get to that position, and we will not improve ourselves. And the reason why we're supposed to get married, to have that foundation, is to actually do better overall. So Charlie typified that, and he found a God-fearing woman. He had 2 kids, and they fucking hate that. And put the fact that he invoked Christ everywhere he went. It just says, like he said on stage, it's like, this is the death of your bachelorhood, and then as when you die in a suit as well. And he's, in 31 years, he's done both, and it's unfortunate that he's gone, but it's 100% true. You're once you get married, you go away with, there's no more foolish things anymore. You're not supposed to be that way. Sometimes we kind of change that now. A lot of people get married just to do it. They don't do it for what it really means, that you have a vow to this woman under God, right? And that means something. If you treat her badly, or you cheat on her, you've broken your covenant with God. And he was, like I said, he was the top of that, and they didn't like it, and they had to get rid of it. So I think it's that, the fact he invoked God wherever he was, because clearly they know what God's word means, and they know that they're in violation of that. Whether or not God says he will love all his creations, of course he does, but he also tells you there are standards to be human. And before I quit, like I said, again, I'm very happy that Matt came out today, echoing similar things that Nick did. So hopefully there'll be something about this. And again, as I end this, and I'm sorry that I had to cough all through that. I guess I should have waited, because I think I'm okay now, and maybe I'll re-record this again, but probably not. I don't have the ability. My brain doesn't have that ability. It is not about being conservative or liberal, okay? I think that I don't consider myself either one of them anymore. It's so clear now that the line is there. We are actually being told by God, I believe, that here is the difference. They say no violence, and Steven Crowder says legal violence if you need to. But there has been a sea change. Now the question is, like a lot of people on the left, they think that this is going to go gone after another 2 weeks. We'll see. I don't think it will. I think that Megyn Kelly, they're actually going to do stuff, continue on, and we're going to have that. We're going to still talk on college campuses. I think it's going to galvanize a lot of young men, a lot of young women, because deep down in their soul, whether or not they think they have one or not, everybody wants to be together. A man and a woman wants to be together, to have babies, and experience what God gave us, because we were created to have this, to have a partner, and to have kids, and to exalt God and your family. That means you exalt the mother and the father. The kids have to listen to their listen to the fathers and the mothers, if the parents are being biblical, let's say. And that is by serving God, whereas the parents serve God. It's a very small, but so perfect way to raise a civilization, a creation. This is how we do it. And there are so many people that want to stop that from happening. and this is the ways that they do it. So I'll stop with that. I don't want to be so biblical to talk about things like this. There are a lot more people that can do that a lot better than me because my speeches are not the greatest anymore. But just think about that. And if you're married or if you're a young single man, that the greatest thing you could ever do, if you find a God-fearing woman and you court her correctly, you will find the greatest thing ever in life. You'll have purpose, and then she will respect you, and you'll see it. When your woman respects you, you can do anything, and then in that turn makes your family have the grace that you have under God. Okay, I'll stop right now. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk about it later. I'm going to watch what Candace has to say. Okay, goodbye.